was like,
The Holy Spirit took over.
and no one cares about sprints.
I care about the sprint. McLaren
It's the world championship
hotline. I have some thoughts about that.
He's Max friggin' Verstappen. He should always be on your radar.
We get to the juicy bits.
Love the juicy bits.
I'm not a scientist.
Overtake King.
Yeah.
That restart, by the way, from Oscar Piastri.
Cheeky.
Diabolical. There's been lots of drivers. It's hard to keep them all straight. And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
This is why you're yelling. Welcome back to our first F1 race review of the 2026 season. We are so excited.
Oh,
we have been waiting months to return. My life feels right now.
Thank God.
Like everything is just kind of aligning better now.
Yes.
Now that Formula One has returned.
It's about time.
Today we'll be reviewing the Australian Grand Prix.
Yes. You didn't say the official
Oh,
name like
I'm sorry.
normal. You're canceled.
I'm out of practice. Okay, today we are talking about the 2026 F1 Qatar Airways Australian Grand Prix
At Albert Park Circuit.
at Albert Park Circuit.
She's canceled.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. We've been on break way too long.
I'll get it. I'll get back into the swing of it. Don't you worry.
Eventually. Okay. So, with that, we'll get into our podium. We have George Russell, Kimi Antonelli,
Hey yo.
and Charles Leclerc.
Yay!
Leclerc. Charles Leclerc.
Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc. That was exciting.
Yeah.
Fun. So, we're going to go down the top 10 because that's like Anna pointed out to me earlier when I was like, I have to read everybody. She's like, no, you only have to read like 10 people.
The 10 people who actually scored points.
Yes. So the driver standings as of right now, we have in first, and then from there on, it'll be second. I'm not going to say second, third,
Okay.
fourth. I'm going to do all that. So we have in first, George Russell, followed by Kimi Antonelli, then Charles Leclerc, then Lewis Hamilton, then Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Oliver Behrman, Arvid Lindblad, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Pierre Gasly.
Hey.
What?
That's so fun.
So now our team standings. We have 11 teams now, just FYI. In first, we have Mercedes, then Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull Racing, Haas, Racing Bulls, Audi, Alpine, Williams, Cadillac, and Aston Martin. Just to note, Williams, Cadillac, and Aston Martin have 0 points.
Yes.
Alpine has 1.
We'll take it.
And Audi has 2. I love Audi.
On their debut as a new team-ish. Quote unquote new.
New-ish.
New-ish.
Love. So, yeah.
Overall thoughts about the race. We'll start there. I'm like, it's been a minute. What are we talking about next?
Okay.
Overall thoughts.
I was very excited. I was very happy. I was traveling during this time, so I was watching. I mean, we're never watching it like we're always watching it at weird times anyway, just because of the time change. But
Okay, so we're based in the US.
Yeah.
Most of the races that when they happen in like Europe are super early in the morning for us. So anywhere between like 6 a.m. and maybe like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. at the latest.
yeah,
That's usually that's a good chunk of the season is in
Yeah.
Europe. So that's what we're used to.
yes.
When they're in, Australia and in certain parts of Asia,
Whew.
they're times we should be asleep.
Yes. So what funny thing is, though, I was in California while this was happening. So this happened at 8:00 p.m. for me.
It was a good time for
It was
you.
a good time. So let me tell you something low-key funny. I was at K1's, like this outdoor go-kart track in California while this was about to happen. And those carts are crazy, by the way. But there were people, someone had like a legitimate, do you remember the white and purple Mercedes outfit from last year? Driving suit?
No.
That's okay. Anyway, 2 people had that on. I had one guy had a Ferrari racing suit on.
People had racing suits on?
Yes.
Oh.
And then I put a racing suit on, but it was a K1 one.
Mm-hmm.
So did Travis. But
Oh,
anyway.
because it's an outdoor track.
It's an outdoor track,
That's why.
yeah. And they go like 80 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really fast. So we immediately get done, and I'm like in the car, and like it's starting, and I'm like, you're like, are you watching it live? And I was like, don't talk to me. Because like normally we text, and I'm like, I can't text and watch on my phone. And then I was in the mountains, and then I was trying to use someone's iPad. It was a whole thing. But the point is, I was very excited.
Yeah, she made it happen.
I made it happen. I was like, I'm watching this. Travis is like, you could just watch it later. I was like, I literally cannot do it. I need to watch it live.
The first race of the season. No.
I have to watch this live.
Yeah. For those who don't know, or maybe joining us for the first time, or just aren't even generally aware, Jessica and I normally try to watch the races live.
Yes.
But we text each other throughout. So when exciting things happen, we're texting back and forth. Sometimes we send voice notes. A lot of times we try and do the same thing for like qualifying.
Yes.
And it's very fun.
It is.
But we have to check to make sure we're both watching live, because life happens. Sometimes you don't you're not able to. And so we always check with each other. Are you watching it live?
Yes.
Because God forbid we text a spoiler.
No, literally.
Which you might think it sounds crazy. How are you texting a spoiler for a live like sporting event? And it's like, no, you can. Because certain things are shocking when they happen, and you don't want that excitement surprise to be taken away from you.
Literally, when Lando Norris got his first win in Miami, I didn't get to watch live, and I refused to get on my phone the like 4-hour drive home. And I was like, do not text me anything. And then she goes, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. And I was mad at her for that. I was genuinely like, why would you even say that to me?
I don't think I even said anything that happened.
It wasn't. It was just any excitement at all. I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
How dare you?
You tease.
So that being said, back to our thoughts. Sorry, tangent. I was very excited. Mm-hmm. I loved seeing Lewis be like happy and just like competitive. Mm-hmm. And I mean, everybody else was great too, but my eyes were just glued to Lewis Hamilton. So
he seemed in such a good mood. I know that he was so down toward, the tail end of last year. I mean, just very sad and frustrated, and seemed just very despondent. And he, over the winter break, he made some social media posts and things. And one of them basically was like, this break has been good for me. I feel more grounded and sort of centered and focused and more hungry than ever. And he's like, I forgot who I was for a minute, but I have been reminded. And we're like, okay, sir.
Good.
All right.
Good, Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I was very excited for this race too. I enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah.
It was interesting. And I texted you before the race had started. It may have been during like free practice or something, or qualifying. I had said I was excited to like watch the cars actually in like at like a race pace and in a racing environment, because this is new regulations. These are completely like the whole like concept of where these cars get their speed from is completely different from anything we have ever known while actively engaging and with and watching Formula One. Mm-hmm. So I was just excited to see what can these cars do? How do they behave differently? What are the challenges the drivers are going to face? Because part of the fun for us of Formula One is knowing enough about the cars and how they work that we can understand when people are talking about the strategy, or we can understand what might be happening when a driver makes a mistake, or when they do something particularly well, or why certain drivers do well at certain tracks and not others. And like all of that is like predicated on knowing enough about how the car works. And let me tell you something, I don't know that I fully understand how this car works. Even after watching the whole race, like I kind of have an idea of what they're talking about, but it's one of those things where like a bunch of the drivers have expressed that they're not even fully sure or can fully grasp how these cars are working or how they can best race them.
Yeah, I think they're having issues figuring out how some people maybe how to best extract everything from the car, because now you have to build up the battery, and you build up the battery by hitting the brake or lifting off the gas, and it builds up your battery, and then you can use that for a boost. And then there's an overtake mode, because DRS is gone, and so there's an overtake mode, but you still have to be within a second in order to use it. And it's a bond. That's why like you would see Charles overtake George on this dirty part of the track on the outside that you typically don't see, because he had battery, and that's when he decided it was just not. It was very, very aggressive. But I think whoever is going to figure this out is going to be like, I think because at first you're like, it's going to be Mercedes. Whoever can figure this out to like the best of their advantage. I mean, there's just so many there's modes, and it's nuts. It's definitely different.
Yeah, I noticed that that certain teams have figured certain things out, but nobody's got the full package together yet, which, I mean, it's to be expected. It's a new set of regulations. We're only at the first race of the season, so, it's to be expected. But it seems that Ferrari has got the start figured out more than other people. We'll get into Charles's race and Lewis's. That start was so exciting. Even Racing Bulls. So Arvid Lindblad had a monster start.
Yeah.
It seems that Mercedes has the pace sort of figured out more.
Mm-hmm.
But they were fighting with Ferrari, for a lot of the race too. So
yeah.
You can't ever. So trying to say who's going to get it all put together the first. You can never count out Max Verstappen.
No.
That man can adapt to literally any vehicle he is given.
Yes.
Very quickly. Like he just sort of like, no, he's like becomes one with the machine.
Yes.
It's so weird.
Yeah. And he was unfortunately sort of eliminated from the top runners this go round because he had an oopsie in qualifying and just, had to start from the back. So, this was sort of like everyone's getting very excited, not realizing the apex predator wasn't up front like he normally is. So we probably won't have a really good grasp of anything until China.
This race was weirdly like froggy is the best way I can describe it. It was just kind of so many odd things were happening. And it was just, we'll get into all of the details of all of that. But yeah, I think for the most part, my overall thoughts about this race was that it was fun.
Yes.
I was excited to see some passing and overtaking and re-overtaking and some battles on track. Yeah, it's going to take a little getting used to figure out kind of like all the new changes in procedure and the cars and stuff. But overall, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what else happens this season.
I'm excited too. It'll be fun. As long as it stays like this.
As long as Ferrari stays toward the front.
No, literally. Because I'm like, Lewis.
I need a Lewis podium.
I need it.
Okay, so I guess we can go into sort of our rundown of the race.
Yeah.
We do not have really like facts and stats or fun facts section anymore. We'll have a couple of fun facts sprinkled in, but we're basically just gonna go in the team sort of like finishing order, the constructor finishing order, and we'll just hit the highlights. Some teams we might briefly mention. Other teams that had better storylines or better race results or some more interesting stuff to talk about, we'll go more in depth on those. So we'll try and touch on everybody, but just know we aren't going in depth on like the people who didn't score any points. We probably won't mention them a ton.
No, not really.
So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that.
Number one is Mercedes.
So we had George Russell and Kimi Antonelli finishing P1 and P2. So our fun facts for George, he won his 6th Grand Prix in his F1 career, and this was also his 8th pole position.
Why do I feel like he has way more wins than that?
Only 6.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's just always in the damn headline.
Yeah. So I had mentioned to you, when I was watching some of the free practice stuff and some of the interviews, that George Russell has a different energy about him at the beginning of this season. He seems more like confident in himself and in the car in particular.
Yeah.
And him coupled with Toto Wolff's little smirk at the camera, like I'm just like, y'all know something.
It made me miss Christian Horner.
Y'all miss something that we don't know, and y'all are feeling very like very self-satisfied, it seems to me.
And I'm like, how dare you?
How dare you? But also like you did finish P1 and P2, so maybe it's justified self-satisfaction.
Whatever.
But yeah, George had a different sort of energy about him. Even watching his post-race interviews and post-qualifying interviews and stuff, he was like, I'm happy about the win, but he wasn't like overly excited or enthusiastic about it. He was much more measured and like calmer afterward. And it's interesting, the change.
I mean, I feel like there could be two explanations. It could be they might realize or think, oh, we may have a problem here with Ferrari. Because, they were pretty close. But also, which we were going to talk about this a little more later. I'm trying to think if I should just bring it up now. For those who don't know, the compression ratio has changed in these new engines. In the cars last year, it was 18-1. Now it is 16-1. I guess we'll just do it here because I think it kind of leads into why he might actually, maybe he's a little more calm because I felt like they were a little cocky-ish towards the start and then
very self-assured. I don't know that cocky,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah.
very
Self-assured.
self-assured,
Yes, that's a good-
and like we know what we're doing and we think
Yes.
we got this.
So basically, what is a compression ratio? First of all, it is how much the engine squeezes the air in the fuel mixture before ignition. More squeeze means more power and efficiency. So that being said, an 18.1 compression, more power. That's what we had last year. This is 16.1, so it's a little bit less. Now, this is measured. They measure these engines to see what the ratio is. If you've been in the Formula One world the past few months listening, you've probably heard this whole controversy. I said it right.
Mhm.
Controversy of Mercedes has found a loophole, or people suspect they have found a loophole. And what this loophole would be is essentially they would measure the engine while it's cold, and it would be 16.1. However, when they're on the track, things are heating up, getting to the proper temperature. It's suspected they have found a way to make their compression 18.1, which is not illegal, but it's going against what the rules had wanted people to do, but they're not actually breaking the rules. Now, that being said, in June, the FIA they're going to start measuring the engines cold and at 130 degrees Celsius. So if they're running 18.1, it's going to be a problem. And then starting in 2027, they're going to be measuring the engines at 130 degrees Celsius, when they're hot. That is the controversy. That is why, Lewis had made a comment about how fast Mercedes was in qualifying. They're like, where's this extra power coming from? And Lewis had made the comment like, listen, if it's just because their engine's better, that's fine. But if it's because of this loophole, that's a problem. And they shouldn't have been allowed to do it for months anyway. And then we should all do it too. And so that could be why we're having a little bit more of a reserved Mercedes reaction, because Toto's tried to play it a little cool, like, oh, it's not going to matter. But it could matter, and it would matter. So that might be why they are a little more reserved based on this advantage they have. They may not be able to hold on to. Anyway,
I was trying to look up the I'm about to pull it up, the qualifying results, because I wanted to see how far ahead Mercedes was compared to like third place, because they made it sound like it was significant. So there's a, let me see, 0.5 second difference between Kimi's qualifying time and who came in second, who qualified P2, and Isaac Hadjar, who qualified P3.
Yeah, I mean, think about what it was last year. You would have 1,000th.
Yeah.
You're not having half a second.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I remember them. I didn't remember exactly what the time was, but I remember them mentioning like that's quite a bit. I mean, and even just the difference between, so George in P1 and Isaac in P3, the difference is 0.8.
That's a lot.
0.8 of a second. Is that right?
Yes.
We said it wrong one time last year.
Tenths.
And okay.
So if whatever's after the decimal is a tenth.
Yes.
Then it's 100th, then it's 1,000th.
Okay. So yeah, it was 0.8 of a second difference.
That's a lot.
So I can see where they're like, what? I can see the questioning side eye sort of looks coming.
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah. So again, back to, George's sort of demeanor. It's I would, maybe it's a combination of those things, that they were sort of self-assured going into the race, but they're trying to keep their responses measured now because they know they may be facing a problem come June. And it may be a case of Mercedes is just like going to be head down trying to win every single race they possibly can and get a head start between now and June. Because if they come across any problems when they start measuring that compression differently, then, it could affect their performance in the back half of the year.
What I don't understand what the FIA said, though, the only thing that what I don't get is they're like, starting in June, only this year, they're going to be measuring it cold and hot. Then it's starting in 2027, they're only going to be measuring it hot. Why measure it cold and hot this year?
Yeah, it's like a graduated process.
Because now at this point, what are you implying? Like what?
I don't know.
If you're measuring it, are you trying to say it needs to be 16.1 while cold and hot? Like you could just say hot. It's never going to be 18.1 while it's cold and then 16.1 while that's not.
Yeah.
That's
how that works.
No. So I just don't understand, like, I don't understand, why are we measuring it cold and hot and starting in June? Why not just measure it hot? Like, because now at this point, if it is measuring 18-1 while it's hot, what are you going to do about it? But it was 16-1 while cold. You know what I mean? Like, what's the repercussion for that? Like, I don't get why you're measuring both.
I don't know.
Yeah, like that's so that'll be interesting to see.
I'm sure there's a reason.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I would assume there's a reason.
Yeah, I would assume. So I'm just trying to think logically why, but
yeah. So looking at George's race just overall, so he did, got pole position. He won the race. He did not lead into turn 1.
No, he did not.
He had a sort of messy start. He was slow off the line. Charles got the jump on him. Both the Ferraris. And this is something that was noted in the practicing and testing sessions and things like that, that it seemed that Ferrari, that actually Fred Vasseur, is that Vasseur?
I think, yeah.
Vasseur. The team principal, Fred.
Mr. Fred.
Mr. Freddie. So Fred had brought it to the FIA's attention months ago that he knew that the start was going to be an issue with these new regulations, because basically my understanding is that there's a component within the car that is no longer there, that had been there like in previous years. And so that component, what it did was that before they hit the gas and actually started going, it basically like pre-revved the engine and got it kind of going before they actually hit the acceleration. That part's no longer there. So that's part of why, if you saw, I don't know if you noticed, there was like a pre-race like revving moment where it got so loud all of a sudden before the lights went out, because since that component's not there, they have to do it themselves. So they basically have to build up the power in the battery and get the car revving and going before the lights go out and they actually go.
Yeah.
And so basically Fred brought that to the FIA's attention, said it was going to be a problem. They didn't listen to him. And Ferrari was like, well, we'll build the car around that. And so they basically figured it out. And so that's why they had, it's theorized that's why they had just a good launch, is because they knew it was going to be a problem forever ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they got the jump on George. But George just had a bunch of like back and forth battles with Charles. Charles was trying to hang in there. I mean, they were giving us pass and repass and pass and repass, and it was lovely to see.
It was simply lovely.
Yeah, in true George fashion, he did jump on the radio to complain about Charles, basically being like, it's dangerous.
Shut up.
And I'm like, George, this is too early in the season. Calm down. We don't know.
Don't start.
But yeah, it was fun to watch. I enjoyed his race. I mean, even talking about so Kimi Antonelli finished in P2. He had an even worse start than George did.
He dropped down P7?
Yeah. It was rough. But he recovered well and came back to get P2. And yeah, he said that it was a low battery.
Yeah, so basically it wasn't just bad luck, according to Andrew Shovlin. Said they did not manage the battery well enough on the formation lap, which hurt them going off the line of the start. So I'm sure they've learned a lot from that. So maybe they'll have a better start going into China. So it seems like it was user error more than something's wrong with the car.
Yeah.
So
some people, said some of the drivers reported that they had 0% in their battery at the start. Some people had 20%.
I'm assuming Liam Lawson had none, because he almost he didn't move, and Colapinto almost ran straight into the back of him.
Crazy reaction time from him.
I was like, you know what? You deserved all your screen time. Yeah, I'm sorry I said that.
Even so watching the driver cool down room after the race, they play the highlights on the screen for the top 3 finishers. They kind of watch them while they're waiting to go to the podium.
Yeah.
And so they replayed that moment, and all 3 of them jumped off the couch and were like, oh my God.
They were like, that reminded me of Isaac Hadjar in Monaco under in the tunnel that time when he was in F2.
For those who don't know, there was a race when Isaac Hadjar was in F2. They were in Monaco. There was a car that had basically stopped on track, but it was in the tunnel in Monaco around a corner, around a turn. So you couldn't see him literally until you were on him. And Isaac's reaction time was so fast, where he jerked out of the way. I mean, it was truly crazy impressive.
It was, that was insane.
And it gives such a good idea of the actual speeds and reaction times that they have to have because they're driving so fast.
We watched 2 different angles. There was an angle where you're looking at the car, like if you were standing in front of it, so like you're looking at the nose and you can see like Colapinto come around, and it didn't look as dramatic, but when you look at his onboard, I was like,
came out of nowhere.
I was like, oh my God.
He just went around and there was a car stopped right there, basically.
That was super scary.
That was nuts. But yeah, the race start was very eventful. And it's always my favorite part. I love the start. So normally a lot of the races happen in the morning time for us, like I mentioned earlier. So I'll be doing other stuff. I'll be making coffee or finishing up getting my breakfast ready so I can eat while I watch the race. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing. There's a gnat. Oh my God.
There are so many bugs in here. We're going to have to definitely clean this bitch up later. It's been a while.
But no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Once I hear, and the green flags are waving in the back.
Like, stop.
And in 5 lights time, I hear Alex Jake saying all that. I run to the couch and am sat for the race start because I don't miss a race start.
I'm sat.
And it's the best part. But yeah,
I feel like the lights, by the way, went out like beep, beep, done. I was like, wait a minute.
Charles said that. I
was like, whoa. They did not go like beep, beep. Like what happened?
For those who don't know, when the F1 race is ready to get underway after everyone's lined up on the grid, they wave green flags at the very back of the grid, so that the person who actually starts the race knows that everyone's set and we're good to go. And so then once the green flags are waved, there are 5 lights that will light up one at a time that all the drivers can see. Once the 5th light is lit up, there's a certain amount of seconds. I want to say it's like anywhere from like, it could be immediately to like 10 seconds that there's somebody who pushes a button that turns the lights out. And once those lights out, that's you go, because it's lights out and away we go. So Charles said that he thought the person who was pushing the button was like playing games with them or was like trying to be funny, because he said that the lights went out so fast that like he's like, I think it caught a lot of us by surprise.
No, we were watching and Travis goes, did that just go? That felt fast. And I was like, no, that was fast. Like it definitely. Yeah, okay, so we're not crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that was because normally it's like beep, beep, because it makes a noise. It goes do, 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 and then. I think it's like a second. That was like instant. It went to 5 instant.
Yeah.
It was out. And I was like, that's not.
Somebody was trigger happy on that button.
Somebody was like, go,
that start button. But yeah, so a couple people got caught out maybe. And then there was also issues with some people's batteries. So that may have been why we had such a chaotic start.
Yeah, it was
at the beginning. So
Australia really came for them.
Yeah. So I guess we can move on to our next team.
Ferrari. I've been saying that.
Ferrari. Luigi only support the Ferrari.
Luigi only followed the Ferrari.
Yeah.
When I was in California, I was dressed and I was at this paintball field and I had on my Ferrari hat, my Lewis Hamilton Ferrari hoodie, and my 44 earrings that I have had in for like 2 years now. And Anna sent me the picture of Luigi from Cars and his forklift friend. And when they're all in their Ferrari stuff.
And they've got like the red, white, and green afro like wig, and their flags and their pins and their jackets and the hats. And
gotta support anywhere.
Yeah. So Ferrari's race, we talked a little bit about it already, but we've got a P3 and P4 finish from Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, respectively. Was very excited to see the results that we got in this race from Ferrari. You can't let the hype train run away with you just yet.
No, but I do think when I read more about the safety car thing, I understood it. So I'm like, I don't know if it's so much as botched strategy as much as it was like you were going to take a risk either way. Like if you pitted, you were losing the lead. If you didn't pit, so like I get it in a way. I do. Lewis was of the opinion, he's like, one of us should have pit. Because there was a virtual safety car, so that's when everybody else basically pit, and then Ferrari stayed out. I read what Fred said, and I read what Charles said, so part of me is like, I don't know if it was goofy, or if it was like
a gamble.
Yeah. And I'm like, if it's a gamble, fair enough, because we still had a great result. I don't know that it was as goofy as it has been.
Because there is a difference between a stupid strategy that doesn't make sense and picking... Like you have an either or 50-50 chance scenario and you just pick the wrong one.
Well, and to be fair, what they counted on did happen. So essentially what Ferrari was counting on, in almost every scenario that they did, there was going to, and this obviously is just your by chance, but they were like, there's probably going to be 2 safety cars. Virtual safety cars, however the safety car is going to be, right?
Because the first race of a new set of regulations, like there were 6, didn't mention this at the jump, there were 6 cars that retired from the race.
Yes. So
6 people didn't even finish.
Yeah. And
1 person didn't even start.
Yeah. And one of the people who didn't finish was Valtteri Bottas in the Cadillac, and his car went out at the pit lane. So we got a virtual safety car, which that was the second virtual safety car we had. That's what Ferrari was banking on. But then the pit lane was closed.
Yeah,
so they couldn't use it.
Very unfortunate.
So it was sort of just it just sort of was like luck of the draw type of a thing. So, but listen, pace seems good. The drivers seem happy.
The race start seemed good, really good, because like we already mentioned, Charles and Lewis both jumped out at the start. Had good passing and repassing scenarios and battles on track. So, yeah, I mean, it was very exciting. Like, literally the noises at the start that came out of my mouth, I was like, Charles, yes!
No, literally. I was like, oh my gosh.
It was not cute, but I was screeching because I was just so excited. Literal screeching.
No, I was very excited. I was just like, ugh. I don't know. It was just nice to see Lewis drive a car that he's clearly having fun driving, and he seems to like be adapting to well. And if this is the first race and it's going like, then it's going to go great. Like Lewis is going to just adapt even more, and he's going to get even better by the end of the race. I mean, whoever his engineer is now, by the way, seems fine. It seems fine.
Yeah. Last year we had, I think Lewis had 2 different engineers?
No.
Or just the one?
Just the one. It was the same one that Carlos Sainz had.
That's right. So Lewis and his engineers seem to be having communication problems where they just couldn't get their communication styles to mesh.
Yeah.
Because basically it was the information that Lewis wanted was not what he was getting from his engineer and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so it was just causing problems and kind of, I think, creating a headache. And so they got him they moved that person to a different role, and they got Lewis a new engineer this year. And it seemed that their communication was doing what it needed to do.
Yes, it seemed to be going very well. Another thing to note that Ferrari has done, so the world endurance stuff, like Ferrari's been like very dominant in like endurance racing. They've moved a lot of those people to the F1 team. So if we see any difference in strategy, it may be that, because there are new people now in this field, because they basically said, y'all were doing really good over here. We need help.
Yeah.
We need help over here. You're coming over here
Makes
now.
sense.
So that is something that happened over the break as well. But yeah, I don't know. I was excited. And I know nobody wants to, it's so lame to be like, one more lap and whatever, but it's not so much that I'm like, one more lap. It's more or less to me, I'm like, he found the pace in the car.
What do you mean by one more lap?
Sorry. I just assume you all know what's going on in my head. So at the end of the race, Lewis was half a second behind Charles. And so, but he was gaining very quickly within like within the like last 10 laps.
I think I heard someone say that after Lewis had pitted, I think he was about 7 seconds behind Charles. And by the end of the race, he was within half a second. So he was gaining very quickly.
Yes, very fast. And so that to me, what it implies is what makes me happy. When I'm like, oh my God, if he had one more lap, it could have been different. I'm not so much like, dang it, one more lap. I'm more like, shit, like that's the pace he can find. Mm-hmm. Like,
you're very hopeful and optimistic, but be cautiously optimistic, because Ferrari has burned us many a time before. And you don't want, the highs are high and the lows are so low with Ferrari. So I do want to say, before we move on from Ferrari, fun fact for Lewis Hamilton, this was the 20th consecutive year with at least one lap in the lead for Lewis Hamilton.
Sir Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Moving on to McLaren.
Wah, 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 wah. Bro, first of all, let me tell you something. I'm in the car freaking out trying to get this damn race on my phone. Travis pulls his phone out and he's like, Oscar wrecked going to go to the grid. I said, what?
It wasn't even the formation lap. It was the reconnaissance lap. So, about 40 minutes before the race starts, the drivers will do a lap around the track. And basically, they can note if there's any like wet patches or slippery patches or dirty patches on the track. mostly it's for driver safety purposes, just for knowledge and information, because there is evolution of the track over the course of the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So they did a reconnaissance lap, and it was on the reconnaissance lap where Oscar just had a moment, and he, the last thing I heard him mention about it, because obviously they were asking him like, whoa, what happened there?
Yeah.
He said that basically there was a combination of things that just went wrong in the same moment, and he's like, there's nothing I could have done about it. But basically he said that the car had more power than it had previously in that same scenario. And so when he went to shift, he had more power than he was anticipating, and then he also hit the curb. And doing that, like the car just kind of just like flung itself into the wall. And so, you know, this is very unfortunate. This is the second year with a mishap at his home Grand Prix. And I'm just like, is he cursed at this track?
At least he finished the one last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
but
what he did last year was sort of epic.
Yeah.
This
year was like, it was so unfortunate because you saw all the people in the stands that had like his merch on, like his hat and the shirt and the green and yellow. And it was just like all those people looking at the hometown favorite, and he crashed out on the reconnaissance lap. So he did not get to start the race.
No.
I mean, that's a very disappointing. Like this is worse than even Isaac Hadjar's start to the season last year, where he crashed into the wall on the formation lap. Like this is worse than that.
Yeah, because Isaac was a rookie in the rain.
Yes.
He trying to get some heat in his tires, and he just
that was another thing for Oscar. He said cold tires, because obviously they were on the reconnaissance lap. So it was cold tires hitting the curb, more power than he anticipated.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it was just a mess.
He just flung that bitch in the wall.
Yeah, so that was not great. So then we're just down to Lando Norris, who finished P5, which is a respectable finish. But for the, you know, reigning constructors and, you know, drivers champion from last year, it's disappointing.
Yeah, pretty like unmemorable for him.
Yeah, just kind of blah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say about Lando. Not because anything bad, it just nothing really happened. I feel like he was just there. Yeah. It was fine.
Yeah, they were definitely not the McLaren of last year.
No.
Hopefully they can figure some things out.
No.
Yeah, so moving on.
That's
all I got.
For Red Bull, listen, I was so excited for Isaac. I thought, holy shit. Like, so Isaac qualified P3.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
That's insane.
This is only his second year in Formula One, his first year with Red Bull.
In a Red Bull. Maybe it's not. I don't know. We say it's not cursed, then he had a DNF. But
yeah, so he qualified P3, which is super exciting. And then, you know, but we also had Max, who did not get to qualify. He had an incident where he also crashed.
Yeah, he locked up the rear axle and then flung that bitch in the wall.
Yeah, and it was a pretty gnarly crash.
Yeah,
like,
it looked like he hurt his. I mean, obviously his hands are fine, but like he had like held onto the wheel as it like flung into the wall, and then you can see as he gets out, he's like shaking his hands off or whatever. But clearly he was fine. But
you can only imagine if Isaac was able to put it in P3. You can only imagine what Max would have been able to do if he had been able to qualify. And even just looking at where Max finished, so he finished P6. Again, if he had been, and he started like P17, 18. He was toward the back of the grid.
Was he not P20?
So he started from basically the back of the grid.
Yeah.
And was able to finish P6.
Yeah.
So just imagine, again, you know, imagine a hypothetical scenario in which Max had actually been able to qualify. And based on what Isaac was able to do in qualifying, I'm like, Max very well could have been challenging for pole. Oh, yeah. And he very well, if he had qualified any higher than he did, who's to say what he could have done?
Who's to say?
But also, so the more, you know, Red Bull just kind of had a series of unfortunate events happen.
No, literally, yeah.
Because, you know, even though Isaac did qualify P3, he did not finish. So he had a power unit issue and basically just kind of like trundled off to the side.
Yeah, he goes, it died.
So that was unfortunate. Max also had battery issues. So even though he was able to go from P20 to P6, he had battery issues that prevented him from really being able to attack and fight even more, which the fact that he was able to battle through battery issues and starting P20 and still finish P6, I'm like, what? This man is the machine.
No, literally.
He is the car. Like at this point, he's become one.
He's just like holding it up, running.
Yeah, literally Flintstone style.
Yeah.
Like it's just all him. So I mean, just again, Max Verstappen continues to prove like why he is the greatest driver currently on the grid.
Oh yeah. Also, fun note for Max: he is going to be driving the 24-hour Nürburgring. That has been confirmed.
Awesome.
Yay!
Yeah, I saw where he said this is like a bucket list sort of race for him, and he was very excited that they were able to make it happen this year, which he's been, expressing an interest or showing an interest in endurance style racing anyway.
Oh yeah, he got his license last year, and then him and his teammate Chris, who does sim racing with him with Redline, I mean, they literally got the podium. I mean, that's crazy. It's insane. Max is nuts. Different world.
Yeah. So overall, Red Bull just had a series of unfortunate events, but there are some positives to take away. It's just the power unit and the engine reliability issue.
Which, new power unit. That's the Red Bull Ford,
Mm-hmm.
So no longer Honda. It's brand new. So
yeah. So we'll see if they can get those kinks worked out.
I have faith. But then again, I'm like, don't work it out. I want Ferrari up front. I don't want a three-way battle.
Listen here, I love Max and I like Isaac. I'm rooting for both of them.
I love them.
I just need Ferrari to be in front of them.
Listen, I love them. I need Lewis and Max to never be near each other again. I don't listen. I
don't need them battling.
No, Max is the best of his generation. I'm going to say Lewis is the best of his generation. I don't need them battling each other. Okay?
Not again.
No.
War
please,
flashbacks.
God, no. Just, ugh. Anyway, Haas. They were there. Yeah. I mean, nothing bad. They were, Esteban finished P11. Ollie Behrman finished P7. Nothing overly exciting for, I feel like, to say. Oh, I know Ocon and Gasly had they bared their teeth at each other a little bit.
Okay.
During the race. And
elbows out?
Yeah, the only reason I remember is because I was like, they hate each other.
Yeah, they were teammates a couple years ago, and they did not get along.
No, but apparently they have beef from before they were even in F1.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that is right.
Yeah, so I was like, oh hey, they're near each other, and they don't like each other.
Yeah.
So that's pretty. I don't really have anything to say about Haas besides that's where they finished. Nothing really bad. It looked like Esteban got off the line well. Ollie Behrman had good pace after the first lap, but they got points, so
Yeah. Okay. So looking at Racing Bulls, we've got Arvid Lindblad, who finished P8, which we already talked about. His great start. I mean, he started where he launched himself up 4 or 5 places at the start.
See ya.
It was crazy because you see, I saw a clip where they basically they kind of dimmed the rest of the screen and put a circle around him, and so you could follow his car more easily.
Yeah.
And he just shoots up, he just perfectly positions the car to take advantage of all the chaos at the start. I mean, that was just very impressive.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Arvid, I see we got something going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we had Liam Lawson for Racing Bulls, who finished P13.
He had a terrible start. He lost power, and it just was bad. He lost power, couldn't move. That's why Colapinto almost ran straight into the back of him. Thankfully, he didn't, but it was not a great race for him, or a great start. And really, P13, sort of expected more from Racing Bulls at this point.
Fun fact for Arvid Lindblad, he scored points in his F1 debut.
Ayo!
Good for him. And he is our only rookie this year. Was that right?
Yeah, him and
true rookie.
Him and Fernando Alonso. Yeah, are the rookies.
Moving on to Audi. Audi was a mixed bag this weekend. We had Nico Hülkenberg, who had a DNS. He didn't even get to start the race, which has got to be so disappointing. You've waited all of winter testing, and you're ready to get started, and then you don't even get to race the first race, and now you got to wait another week.
No, that sucks. But, Gabriel Bortoleto made up for it.
Yeah, he did.
He got points, which I'm happy with that. Sauber in 2024, when we started watching this religiously, 2025 got, we had some highlight moments. We did get some points, but to see Gabriel Bortoleto get some points. And then to me, that implies Nico Hülkenberg easily could have gotten points.
Yeah.
It's promising if we can just get both cars
to the start.
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen if we get both cars on the grid
I believe
starting.
in Jonathan Wheatley.
Yeah. So moving on to Alpine, we've got Pierre Gasly finishing P10, Franco Colapinto finishing P14. Again, it's,
honestly, really disappointed with Alpine as a whole because
Yeah.
they were supposed to be tied with Haas as being like really up there in the midfield, and I just didn't feel very impressed with their pace whatsoever.
yeah, they were
Like,
just kind of nowhere.
No, like it just sort of, I mean, Pierre Gasly, yes, he got points, so fair enough. He got a point, fair enough. But it just feels as if there was a lot of talk going into, oh my God, look at this. And it just doesn't, it just feels flat. Maybe it'll just get better later. But pretty, just kind of expected more from them. I would have expected to see them more. Which, I mean, maybe it's not 100% fair because Pierre Gasly was fighting with Ocon, who is Haas, so he technically was fighting a Haas. But it just felt really... It's still just, I guess that's technically midfield, but it doesn't feel midfield. It just feels like lower field stuff. So I'm just not really that impressed.
So for Williams,
on.
disappointing, but not surprising that they were on the struggle bus this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
They had issues during testing. They didn't even get to participate in the shakedown that all the other teams were a part of, and they were just having
the car's fat, gotta go on a diet. Which thank you for letting us know. By the way, we are now aware that, and honestly, once it was pointed out to us, I felt so stupid.
Yes.
We are aware that a car cannot get disqualified for being overweight. If you want to be a fat bitch, you are allowed to, honey, because you do not have any advantage.
We know a lot about Formula One. We consume a lot of information about it, but some things, sometimes, you don't know until you know, you don't think about certain things.
I read that comment. I went, oh, hell, duh.
You're like, obviously.
I was like, well, yeah. Like what? I'm an idiot.
So, thank you for pointing that out to us. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Just know that we don't know everything.
Oh, God, no.
And we're open to, if you need to correct us on something, we're not going to be offended if you correct us on something factual in the comments.
That's
Opinions are different.
Share your opinion.
You're not going to correct me on my opinion. You can share your opinion.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, I'm open to feedback. I'm open to factual corrections.
Yeah. They did, honey. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
William.
Yeah, Williams just had a really crappy weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Just not good. And it's so disappointing. Again, disappointing but not surprising because of the winter testing issues. And it's disappointing because they ended on I feel like last year was such a solid year for Williams. And, you're kind of like riding the high of that, and then even watching the Drive to Survive right before the season started, and it had me like, I even told you, I was like, I believe in Williams.
You told everybody.
I believe in Williams. I believe in the Williams project. I have faith in James Vowles and in Carlos and Alex.
Long-term faith.
I know. I'm just, it hurts my heart.
I know, that was bad.
I always root for the underdog, and Williams has been the underdog for so long. And they did so good last year, and then I'm just like, well, back to the back of the grid for Williams.
So now we move on to Cadillac. I am not even though we have a DNF, so we have Valtteri Bottas, he got a DNF, and then Sergio Perez, he finished P16. I'm not disappointed. This is a completely brand new team to the grid. Everything is new.
Yeah, it's not just like, with Audi, it was more of a rebrand and a renaming and shifting some things around. Cadillac is cooking from scratch, ground up, completely brand new to Formula One this year.
So something I thought was really interesting is after qualifying, I heard radio messages from both Bottas and Perez, both of them congratulating the team, saying, hey, good job, because like the procedures, we did everything right. You guys did everything right. Like this is such a moment for them to just go, we just need to succeed in the elementary procedural stuff. So does it suck that Valtteri Bottas has a DNF? Yes. Is it surprising? Not really. I'm happy Sergio Perez finished. I mean, that's a lot more. They have a lot more going for them at the moment than Aston Martin, who's been on the grid for a while. And I think it'll just be up for them. I think they have the right expectation for themselves because they didn't really have a bad attitude about it. They were very much like, listen, we're focusing on big picture. It's disappointing that he retired, but again, we're still satisfied with what we did accomplish, and we're just going to build from that. So I think they have the right attitude, and that's just kind of have to look at them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and I think we've talked about this before in relation to Formula One, where success looks different depending on what stage of the process you're in and depending on your own goals, right? So, success for Mercedes means getting pole position, finishing P1 and winning the race.
Yeah.
Success for Cadillac means getting the procedures right and making sure that everyone knows their role in a race weekend and getting through the race weekend without putting the car on the wall or making any huge mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. That's success. That's what they define as successful. So, I think, like you said, they have the right attitude and viewpoint. It's like you have to, approaching any project like this, you have to set goals that are actually achievable.
Yes.
And you have to be realistic about what you can do. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're in a good spot for now.
And it seems both drivers are on the same page as well. Just even though they qualified nowhere, basically, they weren't upset. They're like, hey, we did a really good job. You guys did a really good job. So where they are, like everybody seems to be on the same page.
Yeah,
so.
they know why. Yeah. Like those two drivers know why they were brought onto the team and what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's part of the reason why, we talked about this in our team preview for Cadillac is that, these are two senior drivers who have a ton of experience, have raced for different, multiple teams.
Yeah.
And so they bring a lot to the table in terms of helping to build, direct, and develop a Formula One team.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a different sort of challenge for both of them that I'm like, it seems like they're both very like invested in it. And they're like, yeah, we're here to do a job and we're going to do it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Aston Martin, nothing really to say. Both of them have DNFs. Fernando did, he got up to P10 for a minute and then they had to bring the car in. Lance Stroll used it as a test session essentially after missing most of the weekend and then stopped him in the garage for checks. And I mean, just basically we're just gathering some data, but he didn't even finish the race. So, I mean, Aston Martin at this point, they have I don't know. It's, we're going to see where it goes.
Yeah.
They have a lot of things they have to work out. And I know there was some, from what I read, apparently the Honda that they're working with is not the Honda that worked with Red Bull, where apparently it's a lot new personnel and nobody knew that. And so there's a lot of, it seems to be some contention between Aston Martin and Honda at this point because now
they're like, we thought we were getting the A team and who are all these people?
Yes. And so, but then you have some finger pointing at each other. So it's just like,
which is not helpful at all. That doesn't bode well for a fruitful relationship.
But, for me, I'm like, okay, we'll just see where it goes. But that's really nothing else that I have to add to it.
So to close out our review of this race weekend, before we get to our best and worst,
and our next race little teaser.
Yeah, before we jump into that, I do want to call attention to something. So during the Grand Prix weekend, one of the days was International Women's Day.
Yes.
And Formula One usually does mention something in observance of that. Actually, the Australian Grand Prix, like the actual the Grand Prix and the circuit in Australia, the Melbourne circuit, they decided to name a corner after two women who work in Formula One, which is the first time a Formula One corner has ever been named after a woman. And so the two women are Laura Mueller and Hannah Schmitz.
Yay!
I'm hoping I said the names right.
I think you did.
So Laura became the first full-time female race engineer in F1 history when she took on the role at the start of last season. So she is the race engineer for Esteban Ocon. Mm-hmm. Now, there are other female engineers in Formula One and have been, but working as an engineer in a different capacity. She's the first full-time female race engineer. Yes. So she's the one on the, what do they call it?
She's
intercom. That's not an intercom. What's it? Radio.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. She's the one that's on the radio actually talking directly to Esteban throughout the race.
Yeah.
And then we have Hannah, who has worked with various drivers during her extensive time in Formula One with Red Bull, but she is primarily a race strategist. Mm-hmm. And she was a key figure in the team's success across the 2022 and 2023 campaigns. If I remember correctly, was it last year that there was a strategy call in one of the races that they basically credited her with. Mm-hmm. And they were like, she's the one that made the call, and it basically won the race.
Yeah.
So, she's been a critical part of many of the Red Bull's victories. And I think they're the two sort of most visible women actively working in a full-time capacity for Formula One teams.
Yeah.
And in those specific roles where there aren't a ton of women either in those roles or getting a lot of recognition for them, and they're like doing well.
Yeah.
And so it's very exciting that they got this corner named after them as part of this initiative. I was super happy to see that. I was very excited.
Yeah,
It was very cool.
I thought that was really awesome. So we have our best and worst segment. Driver of the day. I had like 4 people. I was like, I don't know. I feel like I've got to go with Charles. I just think that he really stuck it to Mercedes. I mean, they both did. Him and Lewis both did, but I'm like, he was up there just fighting. I mean, I think he was like setting the tone, and I thought that was impressive.
Yeah. My driver of the day, I have to give it to George Russell. He came in and took care of business. He did what he needed to do. He got pole position. He was, he wasn't leading into turn 1, but he got back up there and was fighting with Charles for the lead in the race. And then, he sealed the deal and won the thing. So, I have to give it to him.
That's fair.
It won't be every time, but this time I'll give it to him.
My biggest letdown, obviously, to me, it's Oscar Piastri. It's just disappointing. Like, I mean, because that was just like, bruh, you didn't even start the race, and you was supposed to start the race. It's not like you were on a team who was going to have all these reliability problems or nothing. Like, that was just straight up, that was crazy. So that was my biggest letdown, was Oscar not.
I think that's everyone's biggest letdown. Like, that's also mine.
Yeah.
It's just very unfortunate because Oscar is such a good driver, and it's unfortunate we didn't get to see what he could do in this, new car and this new set of regulations. Yeah. And, I think we missed out on some good racing because he wasn't able to take part. So that is a letdown.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, we'll get into our next race teaser.
Ayo.
So this weekend, we are going into round 2, the Formula One Heineken Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai International Circuit. Last year's GP results were Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and George Russell. We had a sprint race last year. We are going to have one this year as well. And the sprint result was Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen. And some track stats. The first GP was held in 2004. It's 56 laps long. The circuit length is 5.451 kilometers, which is about 3.387 miles. The race distance is 305.066 kilometers, which is about 189.559 miles. The race lap record is held by Michael Schumacher, which he set in 2004 at 1 minute and 32.238 seconds. And the qualifying lap record is held by Oscar Piastri, which he set last year at 1 minute and 30.641 seconds. So what is the track like? It has a lot of long straights and long corners. I remember there's some really cool elevation. Do you remember that on it? So you need a lot of straight line speed, but you're also going to have tire management. That was something last year because I think it was resurfaced that they dealt with some tire management issues last year. So the tire compound, Pirelli has brought the C2, the C3, and the C4. So
is that on the soft
mid?
That's the mid.
It's okay. Like the middle. So we're going to see how that plays out. And can we overtake here? We know how this goes, but the cars are a bit smaller. We have a lot of different modes now. There are no DRS zones. There are overtake zones or something like that. We're still learning. So it'll be interesting to see if we see a lot more overtakes this season, just based on the fact that the drivers can kind of manipulate when they get to use a lot more power. So can we overtake here? The answer is yes, in theory. Shanghai is normally a track where overtaking is possible, mainly because of the back long straight and the heavy braking zone into the hairpin. So, but I mean, Charles showed us sometimes you can overtake on parts of the circuit you might not normally overtake on.
And that's mainly due to this new car.
Yeah.
And the way that it charges the battery. It charges the battery and gives you that boost of power that you can use throughout the rest of you do it by braking or like lifting off the acceleration, basically.
Yeah.
So that's how you charge the battery, and then it gets deployed in other parts of the track. So, and there is they do have some control over their boost mode that they get to use in their overtake mode, but they don't have complete control over when the energy is deployed because the cars have basically it's AI inside of them that it's machine learning. So the cars have computer programs inside of them that are supposed to lap after lap be deciding and learning how to best and most efficiently deploy the power, how to build it up and use it and store it and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so that's why some of the drivers were talking about this past weekend. They were talking about like, the cars can be a little unpredictable with where they're using speed, and we don't have full control over some of that, which is frustrating, but it's just a way of you're having to learn how to drive this particular car. So that being said, they said that it was harder. The battery was harder to charge in Australia because it's a bunch of straights. There aren't a ton of braking zones.
Yes.
And it seems that Shanghai is going to be a mix of straights and braking zones.
Yeah.
So we'll learn more and be able to see more how these cars.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see a little bit more of what they actually can do because more people will be able to charge up the batteries.
Yeah.
So,
do you have any predictions? I'm gonna make a bold
predict
one.
it's going to be messy. It's going to be chaotic. I know that Charles basically always does badly at this track, or is unlucky at this track. It's not his favorite. But Lewis weirdly does very well here. So
I'm predicting a Ferrari, because we got disqualified last season.
Yeah.
I'm predicting redemption.
Okay, Ferrari
We got
redemption.
our new wing we're bringing.
They're calling it the Macarena wing.
Yeah.
It's the one that if you saw footage of it in testing, it flips 180 degrees.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool looking.
I'm predicting some, but I predict that we're going to see, I think this will be a good race for Ferrari. I think we're going to see Max and George contention, because as long as Max qualifies, it's going to be fine. So, which means they can fight while the Ferraris go.
Yeah.
That's what I need. That's what I need.
George and Max to hold each other up. And then the Ferraris can just take off.
Yeah, because if anybody can get under George Russell's skin, it's Max Verstappen.
And vice versa.
So, with that being said, if you have any predictions, let us know what they are. And what were your thoughts about this race? Let us know. And please, 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 if you love us or remotely like us a little bit, if you like, comment, and subscribe, it's very helpful.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, we'll talk at you next time. Bye.